You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get a bunch of donut salads. Okay, that's a full inventory. Okay. Only dog salads. Just ran into that one. Whoops. do something else. 1 second, chat. Okay, chat, I just wanted to show you guys this. Because it's a good video to watch. Let me... Okay.
To Chris Doles of the Union of Federal Workers. I don't know if he's in here right now. Hold on. Hello? Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, and I can hear you. This is perfect. No production issues whatsoever. Chris, how would you like me to refer to you? How would you describe who you are and what you do to my audience?
Yeah, I'm a few things. I'm the president of my local, IFPT Local 98. I'm one of the national, I'm a member of the National Steering Committee of the FUN, the Federal Unionist Network. And as a federal worker, I work at the Army Corps of Engineers, but I have to be careful to disclaim that. Nothing I say is necessarily the views of the Army Corps of Engineers.
Got it. All right, Chris, I wish I could have you here on better circumstances, but unfortunately, there's a lot of issues going on, specifically with mass layoffs. So without further ado, once again, thank you so much for coming on, but let's talk about it. You've been doing some of the rounds in media and talking about some of these issues, but what is your assessment on what's happening right now with the Trump administration as they basically dismantle the federal government and actively lay off tens of thousands of workers?
Yeah, I mean, it's totally surreal. I happen to be, in a position to not only see it up close because I'm a federal worker, but I spent the last few years trying to strengthen the federal labor movement with a lot of other people. It's the one source of hope I have is the people that I work with and have been working with for the last few years in what we call the FUN, which I joke was named in less serious times. 2 years ago, we started the Federal Unionist Network just to try to build some pressure on Chuck Schumer to get Joe Biden's nominees to the Federal Labor Relations Authority passed. But little did we know we were actually laying the groundwork for and preparing for, I don't think it can be overstated, a totally historic assault on, I don't want to sound too much like a lib, but, the democracy itself. It's funny, a year ago, they were warning about the assault on democracy, and now those same people are some of the most quiet and paralyzed by the moment. But the truth is, the attack on the civil service, the attack on all of the services that our government provides, really does constitute an attack on democracy, and it really can't be overstated. So, yeah, that's how I see it. There's a lot to say about what we're doing to try to fight it, but unfortunately, we're starting a little later than I'd like to have, but here we are.
So there was a National Day of Action yesterday, and could you quickly go over what some of your demands were and what you guys did?
Yeah, so the Day of Action was called less than 2 weeks ago. We just, within a week of the inauguration, it became very clear that he was going to go even harder and faster than anybody really expected. And so we, being a relatively small formation, growing really quickly, we made the call to organize a day of action, something we've never done. The fund has done some like webinars, we've done educational stuff for each other. The network originated as a bunch of us local officers. I'm the president of my local, a bunch of us presidents who are kind of frustrated with the state of the labor movement, had started working together. But in the last few weeks, we realized even though we're small, even though we don't have, the depth or the resources that we'd like to have right now, somebody had to take a stand, and we figured that if we did, maybe we could attract towards us the federal workers who are looking for how to get involved in the fight, but also the broader public sympathies that we're looking for some organization to direct it towards. And I think we were right on both counts. I mean, there's been a huge influx of support, not only from the broader public, but most importantly to me, federal workers are coming towards us in droves. And so the day of action was themed around.
Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Around the slogan SOS, right? The save our services, but SOS being obviously a distress signal to the broader public. Because, while they're framing it, right, Elon Musk is framing it as efficiency and fixing the federal workforce. Really, it has little to nothing to do with that. It's about attacking the services that protect the public from predatory lenders. And, it's about protecting the socialized healthcare that veterans benefit from at the Veterans Administration. So many services protecting our environment. They're really going after the entire regulatory state and anything that stands in the way of their pursuit of more profit. And the day of action was really successful. I think there were 35 or 40 cities where we had actions. Some of them, like in New York, where I am, were really big. We had more than 1,000 people last night with a bunch of electeds. And I think it was the first necessary escalatory step as we build towards what will be the necessary forces to actually stop them, which ultimately is going to have to be a lot of power we build. And we're looking to the broader public sector labor movement, and the broader labor movement. The broader public really, I think, has to step into the streets with us if we're going to be able to stop them.
Yeah. Can you go over at least some of the anecdotes that you have in terms of like what kind of immediate issues will arise from federal workers being laid off in this unceremonious manner, in a very swift manner?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think we're just seeing the beginning of it, right? They're going after the easiest targets, the probationary targets. There's little to no regulatory requirement for justifying the termination of a probationary employee. Although some of us do have some experience in fighting probationary terminations. It's not totally
What is a probationary employee for people that might not know?
Yeah. The first year of anyone's federal employment, sometimes it's 2 years, depends on when you were hired, which agency. But the point is, the first year typically of your employment in the federal government, you are probationary. And what that means is your boss can fire you for any reason in that first year. Now, they are required to state what that reason is, and that reason has to be based in some fact. I say that because the basis of these mass probationary terminations are likely counter to those regulations. But a probationary employee is basically anybody who's new enough that management reserves the right to fire you. And it's important, like when you hit that 366th day and you're done with your 1 year, now a bunch more protections kick in that you didn't have otherwise. It's worth noting that most probationary, well, I don't know about most, but a lot of probationary employees are not early career. Some are, of course, but many are extremely high value, experienced folks who came out of the private sector, or maybe some other public sector service. I spent 7.5 years working as a dredger. I worked for a dredging contractor, and I got hired by the Army Corps of Engineers because I carried a ton of dredging subject matter expertise. So there's this idea that, they're just letting off the most, inexperienced people. And it's just really not true.
Someone in the chat saying probationary employees are not at will, and there is some confusion on that. So they can still be fired, or at least, like, obviously the mass layoffs imply that there wasn't automatically a performance-based reason for their firing, which is what they were saying they were firing all the probationary employees for, right? But what are the odds in terms of virtually every single probationary employee having performance complications, right? So that there is this still is illegal, I suspect.
Totally. I mean, the regs say, and I only know this because we're in the middle of a fight for a probationary termination earlier this year, where the supervisor terminated the employee, and everything they asserted in the letter of termination was just not true. And so as we dug into it and I consulted the lawyers, what we realized was, well, the regulations require, and I think this is government-wide, it might just be to those of us in the Department of Defense, but basically requires that there must be a reason, and implicit is that reason must be based in fact. So if the assertion is that it's a performance problem, but a recent performance evaluation and all available records indicate that this person did not have any performance problems, then they've been terminated for a false reason, and on those grounds can be disputed. So it's not actually an interesting anecdote. Last night, actually, if folks happen to, I have a feeling your viewership probably doesn't overlap a ton with MSNBC. But if anybody caught the interview I did on MSNBC last night, the guy I was with had just been terminated like 2 days ago now. And what he described was he and everybody else who was terminated, all the probationary employees who were terminated he worked at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB. And he and all of his fellow probationary employees got the same exact email, and they didn't do the mail merger right.
What are the odds?
Exactly. They all had exactly the same performance problems, but they didn't do the mail merger right. So it said like, dear first name, last name, literally said dear first name, last name, and then proceeded to explain how your performance indicates that you know, we have to let you go or whatever. I mean, it's very clearly not the spirit of, you know, probationary. Probation is supposed to be a time to assess whether or not this person is right for federal service, and that's clearly not what they're doing.
Can we briefly talk about one of the other like existing long-term issues that that virtually exist in all private and public sector jobs in general, which is the problem with understaffing. At least in my experience covering labor issues with regular frequency, one of the things that most people actually strike over is understaffing, and the nurses union immediately comes to mind. Like, so consistently, no matter where they are in the world, even under the National Healthcare Service in the UK.
After this video, we'll watch. We'll play some more Yakuza, I think.
Or many different private networks here in the United States of America. Nurses are constantly understandably complaining about understaffing. And I feel like this is a problem that persists in the federal regulatory agencies in the federal government as well. So mass layoffs of probationary workers across the board is obviously not only technically not legal, but also is coming at a time when we need more workers, not less. So this is one of the very foreseeable problems, I think, that the Trump administration is bringing about. You have planes falling out of the sky. You have air traffic control towers that are understaffed. You got 3 guys sometimes doing the work of 10 people or even 30 people, and they're not going to be able to produce the same work. And I think regulation and safety related issues especially require everyone in the workforce to be both competent and not overexploited for this reason. So what do you suspect will happen in terms of these mass layoffs at a time when the federal government needs more workers, not less?
I mean, first, just to confirm, the whole federal government, I can speak best, of course, to my experience, you know, at the Army Corps, but the whole federal government is understaffed. I mean, so much work. I mean, it's crazy how much we do. Just like I work at the New York district of the Army Corps. We do all this military construction support for the different arsenals, West Point, all these different, you know, military bases in the region, but also, you know, all the flood walls and levees, their initial construction and maintenance, and there's a bunch of studies that we do around like protecting against future Hurricane Sandy type events. Like the program is massive. I think it was pushing $1 billion per year just this last year. And our workforce is like, you know, it's probably down to 500 now. We were already having a staffing problem because the labor market's been tight. So you're totally right about the premise that we're understaffed as is. But what's the effect? And I think they know it. They don't have a problem with exacerbating the staffing crisis because that's precisely what they're going to use to further privatize all of the services that we provide. And you'd think about an agency like mine, which historically isn't primarily a contracting agency that contracts everything out. The Army Corps of Engineers, you know, does its own engineering and designing and architecture, and we used to do much more of our own construction. You know, the last decades of neoliberal privatization has corresponded with a lot of the offloading of what was previously considered, what's the term, like inherently governmental work. Like the definition of inherently governmental has been getting trimmed up, and now they're trying to collapse us. And I'm sure their goal is to make us exclusively a contracting agency where like project management functions, planning, engineering, like all of it, they want to give out to these big AE firms. And you can figure all the corollaries at NASA in the ways that companies like SpaceX are going to benefit from understaffing turned into privatization. They'll justify the privatization on the basis of the understaffing that they created by firing all the probationary terminations and all that.
I feel like this also has a self-defeating cycle as well, because the less competent the government seems, the easier it is for people to advocate for more tax cuts because they just simply don't see any of the benefits. Many of the benefits are obviously invisible in general, but I mean, this is one of those aspects that's like very much a necessity. Like building a dam or a levee, I think that's it. That's like and maintaining it is probably one of the more most important things you can do. So like, where do you see all of this going? I guess.
Yeah, no, it's such a good point. One of my main collaborators in the Federal Unionist Network made this point last week on one of the interviews she did, which is like, our work is vindicated precisely by its invisibility. It's the fact that you didn't get sick from that water you drank and that food that you ate and the air that you breathed and the flood that didn't happen. It's the absence of news stories.
Welcome to the first look at Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy.
That vindicates the work that we do. And so it's going to be really important that we get good at messaging these next few weeks and months, because the attack is only going to continue, right? They're starting with probationary hires. They're going to pursue much deeper cuts.
Yeah.
And I think what we have to remind folks is, and really ask folks, like, I think everybody has an obligation to look at where the things that they benefit from come from. So if a member of your family has a home health aide, chances are that service is one way or another subsidized by federal dollars. If your kid's class size is kept under a certain unreasonable threshold, 30 or 25 or whatever's the standards now, that's informed by money subsidized through the Department of Education to local cities and states. I think we obviously, as federal workers, I can describe how what I do matters. And, the news stories that don't happen because dredging happens, the entire economy depends on keeping, sediment from accruing in the shipping channels that allow goods to come in and out of all the ports, right? I can describe. I think we need the broader public who supports us, who sees the crisis, to help us share the narrative and be like, whether it's the healthcare that you as a veteran receive, which is like some of the best social. People always talk about how, Canada or Europe, they've got such great socialized healthcare, as if we don't have one of the best socialized healthcare systems in the world. Granted, it's not for the entire population, but veterans receive some of the best healthcare in the world, and it's totally socialized, and the right sees it as this ripe fruit for picking apart and making for profit.
Yeah,
like the rest of us. So,
they've actively tried to dismantle VA and also privatize it, and have seen some success in recent years in terms of privatization. A big problem with the VA, however, is that like its pool of people that are in the VA are unlike any other healthcare pool at all. It's constantly growing. And also virtually every single person needs it. Like they need higher level care than the average person that you can normally hedge against. As that's just how insurance works. You have everyone buy into it, and the healthy are supposed to subsidize those who desperately need it. Of course, there would be no need for a VA if we had universal health care. But yes, Republicans are also actively, and some Democrats even are actively working to dismantle the VA and privatize that as well. So I guess one last question, and thank you so much for coming on and taking the time out of your day. One last question I have is what would you rate the Democratic Party right now and their and their competence against all the things that are happening? Do you feel like they're mounting any defense whatsoever, or even or a significant one?
I mean, I think the answer is pretty clearly no, not yet. But I think it's important to say not yet. I don't want to, we need them to get off their asses. The first, fine for all the media stuff I've done, and I'm an engineer, and yeah, I'm a union leader, so I have some experience doing public stuff a little bit. But like, this is unprecedented, right? I mean, the first media thing I did was with an interview at somebody at the New York Times asked me a bunch of questions, and the one piece that they kept was that I'm a constituent of Hakeem Jeffries. I live in Brooklyn, and Hakeem Jeffries is my rep. And he had just like a couple days prior did that thing where he I don't know if he physically threw his hands in the air, but he basically figuratively threw his hands in the air and said, "It's their government. There's nothing we can do." And I think that's been the lead. The paralysis that you see in the Democratic Party has been set from its leadership. And so for them, I think we have to give them a big fat F for their conduct so far. Obviously, there are some great exceptions. I mean, Rashida Tlaib came out to the Federal Unionist Network indoor rally we did at Busboys and Poets in DC last week. AOC came out last night to the rally we did. So like the left, the squad are showing up. And the thing is, we're not going to win if it's just them. We're going to have to figure out others. And there are some other more, liberal, mainstream Dems. I mean, Pritzker, like, I can't believe I'm going to say anything good about Pritzker, but like Governor of Illinois declaring like the severity of the crisis at the moment. Like, yeah, we need people to we need them to move beyond the rhetoric, though. For those who aren't even reaching the rhetoric, we need them to find it. And for those who are, willing to throw around the rhetoric, we're going to need them to actually embolden, forces into the streets. I mean, we are putting out a call. The SOS distress signal is targeted at the public, but with a strategic focus on public sector unions. So our hope is that political leaders, but perhaps most importantly, union leaders who have a relatively recent history of militancy at the public level, at the city and state level of public unions, we need them to, remember that muscle memory and be willing to go back out into the streets, jointly with us as federal workers. And, Trump and Musk, they know they're creating a political crisis. They think they can manage it. Our job, the labor movement's job, is to make it unmanageable. And I think that's only going to happen through unprecedented political mobilizations. And if ever there was a time for it, it's now. And yeah, that's what we're hoping to inspire over the weeks and months ahead.
And what can members of my community do to help in this struggle? Yeah,
I appreciate that question. The comms folks wouldn't let me live it down if I didn't say it. A few things. One is if you're a federal worker, which some of your listeners may be.
Oh no, there's plenty.
Yeah, join the fun. The Federal Unionist Network is for you. Ultimately, I mean, obviously we have a broader mission right now, but we get our power, our strength from the federal workforce that's coming into our ranks. And I'll say it a couple times. The website for everybody to go to is go.savepublicservices.com. If you're a federal worker, there's a box to check to say you are, and we'll follow up to learn more details, what your union is, all that stuff. But so for federal workers, join the fun, get involved. If you're not a member of a union, obviously join it. If you don't have a union, you can form one. In fact, we're working really closely. You may know EWOC, the Emergency Workplace Organizing Committee, one of the most important formations of the last few years. They do new organizing, and FUN and EWOC are teamed up now to help organize new federal unions because, despite that we are high density in the federal sector, there's still hundreds of thousands of union eligible folks who don't have a union. If you're not a federal worker, you could still help, I think, by sharing your stories. And like I said before, understand like you and your community, how you benefit from federal services and find any opportunity to share that. Because I think the invisibility of the federal services is part of our problem. We need everybody to help reshape the narrative about how federal service actually connects, whether it's labor rights that are protected by the NLRA or it's environmental protections that are upheld by the Environmental Protection Agency. Those are important. I gave the URL. I'll give it again, go.savepublicservices.com. And, the regular stuff around contacting your representatives, I think it's still important, and perhaps it's more important. As somebody who generally has put their political attention to the union work and building a strong union, and I've always kind of like, sure, contact your representatives too. Now it actually feels like we can make a difference in the political calculus of elected representatives because the crisis is so severe and because so many of them are paralyzed by the moment. I actually think that the pressure pushing those otherwise confused electeds who don't know who they're going to piss off by taking this or that action, I think they're actually really subject to pressure. So if you can push your electeds to actually do something meaningful to support whatever mobilizations are happening in your community, I'm less cynical about that as like a necessary tactic right now than I may have been in traditional times. But these are not traditional times, so call your representatives.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on, and good luck to all of your future endeavors. And we'll try to
really appreciate the chance.
Yeah, of course. We'll try to help out as much as we can over here.
Yeah,
right.
Happy to update you anytime. Appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, John. Yeah, I just thought that was important to watch, at least, a little bit. Just gonna delete that before it leaks any info. And it's time for more Yakuza. Okay, 1 second, chat. I'm just gonna use the bathroom real quick.
っしゃいませ。ありがとうございました。
Okay. Glad I did not.
This sucks. Come on now. Get best shot. I got this. Yeah. Let's go. You're in it now. Gotta hold it together. Okay. Get alive. I'm up. Victory. Let's do it.
Jeez.
Yeah, let's go. Watch Take your best shot. Cool. Get serious. Check this out. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Take your best shot. Yeah. Come on now. Get to it.
Down.
Hey.
Hmm.
いらっしゃいませ。ありがとうございました。
Hey. Battle's on. Yeah. I got this. Have fun with this. Get alive. Cool. Check this out. Oh yeah? You're in it now. Say. You're weak. I do this. Going in. No mercy. Let's go. Okay. Yeah. I take care of that shot. Pain in the ass. The enemy is defeated. Man, my back is killing me.
マジ？店長そんなに怒ってんの？
いらっしゃいませ。ありがとうございました。
Jake. Not a loser. Yeah. Watch this. You're in it. Have fun with this. I'm up. Cool. Next time. Look, there's some shepherd's purse. Look, there's some shepherd's purse here.
Shepherd's purse?
It's a weed. It's pretty good when you boil it up and put it into a broth. You can get fish mint, vetch, and mugwort from this part of town too.
Wow, you know your weeds, huh, Namba?
Well, I didn't learn it overnight. Nearly killed myself a couple times. Still, I got better at telling which was which over time. Now I've got a pretty good idea of things. The more dangerous they look, the better the taste.
You know, the first guy to eat sea urchin must have been a little something like you.
That's not a compliment, is it? I'm good. Okay, let's go! Watch this! Yeah.
Hmm?
Huh?
Oh. Hey. ええ。
Wow.
ああ。
Hmm?
Sure thing. ありがとうございます。
Sup? Sup? Huh? Eh?
Got it.
No.
Hmm?
Do it! Cool. Come on, take your best shot.
God.
That's how you do it.
Oh, damn it.
Hey, you ever thought about getting rid of all this trash?
Yeah, but it's not just trash. It's memories of my wife.
Memories?
I used to run this place with my wife. We didn't make much, but life was good.
Right. I heard this place used to be legit.
Then one day, my wife collapsed while tending the store. By the time they found her, it was too late, and she passed on. Despite her health, she worried about the shop until the very end. And the worst part is that I was off goofing around while my wife was hard at work here at the shop. I've never forgiven myself. It's my fault she's gone. If I had just been at the shop that day,
Sorry.
she would have lived. To think I wasn't there for her. Gomi-san. I tried to keep the place going by myself, but then a thought crossed my mind when I was helping a customer. What if she appraised this? How might she have felt about it? I asked. Thinking about it that way, I started to see everything in this place like it still had a little piece of her. But from then on, I got too scared to throw anything away. I feared I might end up throwing her away somehow. Next thing you know, the store's looking like this. I kept telling myself it was merchandise, but I could never bring myself to sell it. I knew I was being unreasonable, but I can't say goodbye to these things. They're all I have left of her.
Yeah, I get how you feel.
And I'm sure it was tough losing your wife. But what about all that your wife worked so hard for, huh? What about that? I didn't even notice this place was a shop until someone pointed it out to me. All I saw was a pile of trash. The place you two work so hard to protect is so covered up, nobody even knows it's here. If anything has a memory of your wife in it, it's none of that shit out front. I'd say it's the shop itself, yeah?
Oh, Gomi-san, I think maybe it's time to bring this place back to its former glory. Oh, Kyoko! I've contacted the office. They'll be out here to start cleaning up. I'm so sorry for letting things get like this.
Might want to tell that to your neighbors instead of me. What are you gonna do now?
I'm going to get everything looking like new and open up shop again. My wife gave her all for this place. If she's still watching over me, I should make sure it's something we can both be proud of.
Yeah. Maybe I'll stop by and pay you a visit sometime.
Kasuga-san, thank you very much. I think my manager is going to be real pleased after today.
Ooh, thanks. And keep up the great work at the web. If you ever get promoted, maybe you can sneak a little more meat into the pork soup at the soup kitchen.
All right.
Anyway, I think I'm gonna take...
Yeah, take care.
I should give this cleaning up thing a shot one of these days.
Ooh.
Bring it on. Yeah. Yeah, I got this. Oh yeah. Let's go. Let's do it. Cool. So itchy. Not a loser. Yeah. Get alive. You wanna go? Let's go. Okay. Have fun with this. Watch this. You wanna fight? Let's go! I'm up! Get it now! Yeah. Get alive! What the? This sucks. Let's do it. Better luck next time. So itchy. You're going down. Okay. Have fun with this. Your best shot. Cool. Let's go. You're in it now. Take your best. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. I'm up. Okay. Get alive. The enemy is defeated. Hey. Bring it on. Cool. We're in it now. Yeah. Let's go. I got this. Okay. That's better. Yeah. Yeah. Next time. My back is killing me. The battle is on! Yeah. You're in it now! Take your best shot! I'm up! I got this! Let's go! Let's go! I'll make it work. You want Let's go. Good spot. Look at me go. Tasty.
ありがとうございました。
Not a loser. Cool. Check this out. That's how you do it. Lots of properties on sale here.
One second, chat. I'm gonna head off.